This is Ken Chowski. Made this little video for my clients and others that might be interested in how and why I set up my bike computer the way I do. Now, some of this can also be done for a watch, but I prefer a bike computer because I don't like to try and take my eyes off the road looking at the small dial watch and numbers on it. But it can be done. You can also buy a watch that transfers to your bike that you can still read. The problem with that is you got to remember to take that bike watch off and put it back on your wrist. So here's a little tutorial of what and why I do it. So the overview is I have a top screen. That's what opens up when I turn the computer or the bike computer on. I like my largest number always to start with power. You'll see that in the next few slides. But if you don't use power, then use heart rate. Other ones that you must include on that top view will be your heart rate and cadence. Some of the optional data, you can put up anything that you want. You'll see I use speed, distance, and lap normalized power, which I'll talk a little bit about later. What is normalized power? So below is my top screen of my bike computer. If you're familiar with Garmin screen setup on your model of your bike computer, I use a 7B screen. A 7A screen still gives you 7 fields, but with 7B, it makes the one field bigger than all the others. That is where I put my power. I use 3-second power for that. Now, if you don't know how to set up your bike computer to different types of screens, because you can go in there and say, I want 4 numbers, I want 5, and then it walks you right all the way up to 10. 7 is what I found the most useful. And you can see below that here's how I set it up. If I'm going to be staring at watts power, that's the biggest number out there. Miles per hour, easy to find, upper left, but I don't race by it because of many different conditions that can alter your actual performance. It's nice to know. Heart rate, upper right hand corner, easy to see. I don't have to take my eyes off the road very long because I'm racing by those 2 numbers alone, heart rate and power. Other ones I have on the display, time of day. It's good for when I'm using this and I'm out for an afternoon ride, time of the day it is, if I'm running late. Distance, always good to know if you're trying to figure out how many miles left on the race or how many more miles you need to do to hit your goal for that particular run. Lower left is normalized power. Now I use the default Garmin lap, which is every 5 miles. And normalized power is calculating what is the average power that you're putting in when you're actually pedaling. So if you're going down a big hill, it's going to be 0. It's not going to be averaging into your normalized power. This is a measurement of how much effort are you really putting into it while you're pedaling. And it refreshes every 5 miles on this one. So I can compare early race, mid race, late race. If I'm dropping off, improving, I really want that number to stay constant or improve. I don't want to go out too fast and then bonk. And then I have the distance in miles and then the cadence. Cadence is very important. I stress trying to hit 90. Every now and then I will glance at it, but I'm not glancing at that one as much as my heart rate and my power. I put it in the corner just so that I know it's easy to find. I don't have to go reading numbers in the middle. I do create a second screen, and that I use a 10 field screen format. I put a few extra things there. You can do anything that you want. Again, the distance. The upper right hand corner is how long I've been riding. It's good to know. My speed, my grade. I like to know my grade on some of them because I will be doing a race later this year that for 20 miles, I'm going up to 6 to 7% grade. So when I'm riding out here and in Michigan around my house, I'd like to know what roads are that particular grade so I know how it's going to feel going up for 20 miles on that particular grade. If I'm going to be using that bike, I like to know the particular gearing that I have on the bike and decide, well, do I need to change it for that particular race? The time of the day, good to know in case you're running late. Cadence, heart rate, power, and then 10-second power, just a different power number. It smooths it out a little bit more. And normalized power for the whole ride. What I'm adding in 2026 are labels, and these labels will change based on the race. This whole thing is set up for a half Ironman. I pulled my numbers from heart rate zones from Training Peaks profile. Anybody can find their zones within your Training Peaks profile. And also, if you're using power, you're going to find those ranges as well. Now, they will be personalized for each person. The heart rate's based on a particular formula used by the British Federation, Cycling Federation, and I'll show you that in a second. And that's based on your age. The power is based on performance, what you've been doing. So that one's even more personalized. The three numbers indicate the far minimum, and then the right one is the far maximum. And then the middle number is the arithmetic average of the two. Top number is heart rate, bottom number is power. Those are my numbers that I'm going to be racing for the Ohio Half Ironman. Now, I may deviate from that if they feel wrong to me, but I'm going to give it a shot. And I looked at my past performances. I think those numbers are pretty good. So once I go into my personal data in Training Peaks, I should see heart rate zones 1 through 5, recovery, endurance, tempo, lactic threshold, and VO2 max. And percentages, how you calculate the min and the max for the British Cycling Federation zones are those percentages. And the power uses the same percentages. And my FTP right now is 200 watts. So it's just a simple arithmetic Excel spreadsheet creation. And then what I'm recommending based on what I feel like I've been doing and looking at my data for years is a sprint. I'm going to be going for zone 4. A 70.3, I'm going to be going for zone 3. And a 140.6, I'll be going for the endurance zones. Now I'll be looking at both of them throughout the ride. I will be comparing. And remember that I said I'll be watching both, and I may switch my strategy. If it's really hot outside, your heart rate's going to be working a lot harder in order to stay cool. Let's say you're getting pushed by the wind and it's a hot wind. You're never really cooling off. You may have to slow down a little bit to get your heart rate in the zone, but your power is going to be low too because you're being pushed by the wind. And it could be it could be cool. If it's cool outside, your heart rate won't go up as much. So you might be able to put out power, but don't put out too much power or your legs will cramp up. So depending on the weather, depending on the course, you may bounce between those two numbers all the time throughout the race. So these are estimated values. These are what the British Cycling Federation and coaches use. So they may deviate, you may deviate, but I think you need to start using this while you're training to see how it feels so that when you get to your race, you know what to expect. I hope this helps you, and good luck in your racing.